we have my friend, funny guy, Mr. Monty Scott.
Let's hear it for Brian, everybody. That's the best intro I've ever had, actually, I think, is, yeah, your next guest, he plays on my fat basketball team. He's pretty funny. He's funny when he plays, anyhow. Unfortunately, I wasn't introduced as Rasshole. So that's nice. It's nice to be here. I spend most of my life entertaining white people, so it's nice to be in a room full of brown people entertaining them for once. I never seen this many brown people at a fundraiser since my uncle's rum shop burned down. But it's nice to be here. Like I say, well, you know, I'm mixed. I'm Guyanese and Scottish. That was the. Oh man, that doesn't sound. Oh, that sounds like trouble. I'm like the drunken Braveheart of human beings. These Guyanese people are the only people that outdrink Scottish people. My parents stayed sober for one afternoon, and here I am. A lot of times I go around the country performing, and my buddy told me one time, it seems like my nationality confuses people because they don't know you. My buddy's like, you know, really when you go north of Steeles, they get confused by nationalities. It freaks them out. Highway 7, they're lost. They're completely lost. So you get up there, and he's like, you got to explain your nationality to people because they can't follow your jokes because they're too confused by your nationality. It's impossible for them to follow your jokes. And I just think it's amazing. It's possible. There could be somebody in the audience going, so is this guy just going to look Mexican the whole time and not say nothing about it? He's just going to tell us jokes in perfect English? I can't understand a word he's saying. Is he talking about salsa right now? Well, like I say, being mixed is unusual. I mean, it seems like you guys are unmixed. But I'm sure a few of you are mixed. And it's weird, because, you know, sometimes I think maybe if I could just stay out of the sun in the summertime or whatever, they'd just give me a cottage. Is that how you get them? Just be like, just on whiteness alone, and be like, you're white enough, you get one. There you go. I'm telling you, 80% of my whiteness is in my feet. If I showed you my feet right now, you'd give me a cottage right now. You'd be like, yeah, there you go. Those are glowing feet. I never really wanted a cottage. I don't know. I'm going to say you're probably not big cottagers, all of you. I'm gonna run the risk of saying not a lot of cottages in this room right now. But I never wanted a cottage because I never mowed my lawn and thought to myself, you know, I wish I had another lawn. 3 or 4 hours from here, where I could finally just get up there and fight nature to death. I'm gonna drink until the trees tell me to stop. I'm gonna live my dream of being a maintenance man of a shack in the woods. But rarely are you heckled by children. Now, as I was saying, I mean, my name is Monty Scott. Because I have a tartan. I don't look like a man who would have a tartan, but I do. My name is Monty Scott. It's actually Montgomery Malcolm Scott. Because apparently my parents thought we had cash. Named me to be a billionaire. Grew up in a townhouse in Scarborough. I should be like riding around on horses, shooting at poor people, whatever rich people do. They named me to have a monocle, for Christ's sake. And then I grew up, I should have stables. You know how condescending the cops are arresting you named Montgomery? They'd be like, Monty, why'd you steal all the shrimp, Montgomery? I'm like, because my horses are dying. My stables are in disrepair. The Scots are doing terribly in the New World. My castle looks like a townhouse. I guess being named Monty and looking more ethnic than I am, a lot of times when people forget my name, it just seems to give them license to take the craziest guesses at it of all time. A buddy of mine was running a comedy show, and the owner was like, why don't you have your buddy come in and fill in for you? And he's like, yeah, sure, which buddy? And she's like, you know, your buddy, your good buddy there, Raul. He's like, Raul? I don't have a buddy named Raul. What am I, wearing a suit with no shirt? Doing lines of coke off the hood of my Camaro? I wish I was living a Raul lifestyle. She's like, no, you know, your buddy's Shabazz. Like, what have I done to foster a look? Your second guess at my name could be Shabazz. How is Shabazz even in your bag of guesses at a name, for Christ's sake? Play the percentages. How often does Shabazz pay off for you? In this hemisphere, it's not like we're selling our shawarmas or something. Like maybe the shawarma guy could be named Shabazz, but I don't even think it's a Middle Eastern name. It's like a fantasy name. Only time it's acceptable to get Shabazz as the name is the question was, what was the name of the genie in Aladdin? I don't know what I was wearing when I met this chick, but I'm pretty sure I wasn't shirtless with a turban and MC Hammer pants. I wasn't in my genie outfit that day. You guys, I was going to ask if you guys are hockey fans. Probably not a huge hockey. I mean, we're all hockey fans. We're all in a country now. My family, all Guyanese people, they started to like hockey after a while. They try to figure out what's going on. I played hockey most of my life. I know I got the classic hockey player look. I like hockey because there's fighting in hockey, because it's the original way to solve disputes, and they took it away from us. Men only solve disputes by fighting, and they took it away from us. And they talk about it in hockey as if it's part of the sport, even though it really has nothing to do with the sport. They talk about fighting as if it's part of the game. I was listening to the radio, and they had this announcer come on, and they had a rookie on the radio, and he said, the announcer was like, hey, man, you had a really good rookie year. You had 20 goals, 20 assists, and this year you even had a chance to fight your idol, Jerome McGinley. Like, that must have been pretty special to get a chance to fight your idol. And that's the only time anyone's ever said that in the history of the world. What was it like to get a chance to fight your idol? I can only imagine how many young, aspiring astrophysicists have stared up at the stars, wondered if they'd ever get a chance to roll Stephen Hawking down a flight of stairs. I'm like, maybe one of these days I'm going to catch that robot talking bastard slipping right down the steps like, who's the physicist now, bro? You just got physicked. Did that blow your mind? Are you okay? Somebody just audibly said, oh my goodness, he's going after Stephen Hawking's. I'll talk about this briefly. Notice the no-frills by here. Are you guys no-frill shoppers? I don't know if it's the brown side of me, but I think you have to be all white to be sad to shop at no-frills. Because I love no-frills. I would never shop anywhere else but black and gold for life. But I like my No Frills was giving out the flu shot this year, which blew me away. Yeah, the Lansdowne No Frills giving out the flu shot. And I was like, that means there's people on this earth more scared of the flu than having no frills inject you with a hypodermic needle. They're like, yeah, sure, whatever they got behind the counter. I don't mind getting shot up at no frills, no problem. Who gives you that, the butcher? I don't want anyone giving me a shot and then telling me yeah, also potatoes are pretty cheap. Good deal on potatoes, I'll tell you that right now. I gotta tell you though, at first, groceries-wise, I didn't like the self-checkout because I'm like, what am I, a customer or employee, you know? Came in here as a customer, now there's a cleanup on aisle 12. I'm checking vacation sheets. I was a free man when I walked in here. But I've been using this thing for a while, and I have got to admit, this thing has cut my grocery bill in half. Because now I just steal half the stuff. Are you kidding me? It's the best question you could ever ask me. Like, hey, you want to tally up your own bill? Like, yeah, I do. I didn't want to pay for this ham, and now I'm not gonna. How about that? Any other jobs you want me to do while I'm here? How about I tally up that cash register for you? In fact, it's been a long day. Give me the keys. I'll lock up. This store will be on blocks tomorrow. One of the things I love about, I'd say groceries, but it's really about people. I always get groceries and people mixed up. People, it seems, universally, don't want to give the carts back the way they want the carts back. There's something where we're like, I'll give the cart back on my own time, mister. I came in here, I'll give it back upside down on the boulevard if I want to. I'll give it however I want. And then there was a time, I guess, when we'd have to call this person a genius who said, maybe we should put a 25-cent deposit on the carts. See if that helps. And sadly, for humanity, that worked friggin' amazing. Apparently it takes 25 cents for us to fall right into line. Like, where do you need the cart, bro? Honey, take it easy on the cart. They have our change. We gotta play ball with these people, for Christ's sake. They have our quarter. You know, I'd like to take this to the overpass and throw it on the highway, but they have our change. I always look at the cart as the best purchase in No Frills. I come in yelling at them like, you should have put this in a flyer. They're giving them away, 25 cents each. I'm rolling around, brand new cart, smelling this thing. Because I don't know much about scrap metal, but I guarantee you there's more than 25 cents worth of metal in that cart. I will melt it in your friggin' parking lot. I'll come back with $10 and change in a transport truck. Now I'm in the cart business, partner. I'll tell you, I don't know if you can tell by looking at me, I'm dating a white woman. And sometimes, like I was telling you guys, I don't really know what race I am. But dating her, I realize I'm different than hers. Because every once in a while, she'll say something to me where I'm just like, damn, that is not the same as me. She was hanging out with my family. This kind of reminds me of a family wedding, actually. I feel like I'm talking to my barbecue. Hanging out with my family, and my girlfriend was like, oh, you know, I like your family so much. You know, I'd really like to be reincarnated as a Caribbean person. That would be nice. Maybe a Guyanese person. I'd like to be reincarnated as a Caribbean person. And I was like, that's the whitest thing I've ever heard in my whole goddamn life. You think if they're giving you your choice of race, you don't know you're supposed to pick white? That's the one guaranteed. You gotta pick white. I got a chance at a boat. I don't want to work on a boat. I'd like an actual boat. Nobody's ever like, oh, you know, I really like spicy food. I think I'm gonna go Sri Lankan on this one. She's always talking about reincarnation. I don't know if this is a white girl thing or just... now, I'm not against reincarnation or the idea of reincarnation, but she always brings it up like her evidence is child prodigies. She's always talking about child prodigies like Mozart. Immediately, he's amazing. And so she's saying that's somebody, they didn't erase his memory, came back as Mozart, fired up, right out the gates. And I was like, that's not really evidence of reincarnation, because if that was how reincarnation worked, they just forgot to erase somebody's memory, you wouldn't have people that are really good at stuff. You'd have people that are just kind of good at stuff. It'd be like, you know, my toddler there, my 3-year-old kid, my son, he finished our basement. Not well. He finished it like a 45-year-old man that's finished a basement once in his life. It was nothing to code. There's a sink in there, though. It's finished, I'm telling you. He's only 3. He's not the Mozart of basements, I'll tell you that. But it's a functional basement. I'll talk about this, I guess. I'm a sporting fan. Are you guys football fans here? Yeah. Personally, football's not my absolute favorite sport because I like basketball and hockey. Because when you tune into those sports, there's a real good chance they're playing them. You tune into football, it's just a bunch of dudes in helmets wandering on and off the field. It's like tuning into a construction site at noon. I keep expecting somebody to come through with a Tim Hortons, like, who had the double-double? What's going on? We huddling? You want me to run a slant route, or you want this cruller? But I just like how religious because a lot of Southern Americans, and only the Super Bowl I watch, every time a guy caught a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl, he was pointing upstairs. Just straight upstairs, not even pointing to the guy who threw him the ball. He's out of the equation, just going right upstairs, but it made me really hope that maybe one of these days we could get a dominant Satanist athlete. Just catch a touchdown pass and be like, right downstairs. Like, start hopping around and pointing downstairs. I'm like, hey man, you had a really good game. You had 3 touchdown passes. I'm like, first off, I just wanted to say, none of this would be possible without my dark Lord and Savior Lucifer. I'm not an Olympic fan. You guys fans of the Olympics? I should probably stop asking you questions. Fair enough. Non-responsive group of people. They're just like, yeah, I don't know. We're just going to keep looking. Now, I'll say this. I'm not a big Olympic fan because I think they're just making up events. I think they had Duck, Duck, Goose in the last Olympics. I think they're making up events so that white people can keep competing in the Olympics, to be totally honest with you. They had sailing in the last Olympics. That's for the greatest athlete in the world to have ever owned a sailboat from his childhood. It's not the most ethnic crew of people. I want to know who that guy is. Like, well, you don't seem very athletic. Well, you haven't seen me on my yacht. I get on my yacht, I start making margaritas, I put on the captain's hat, I'm king of the world when I get on the yacht. I'll tell you one event. Well, you guys watch curling? That was the man like, nah, are you kidding me? I tell you my favorite thing about curling is the sweepers. Because they seem to truly believe they're doing something out there. They don't know that sweeping's a placebo. They're sweeping like it really matters. They're sweeping like their life's dependent on it. I should be out sweeping for the NHL. Scott's can't play hockey, but he's one of the best sweepers we've ever had. I just love how they blame the sweepers. You swept it too hard, or you didn't sweep it enough. Maybe you threw the 40-pound rock too far right. Maybe I couldn't sweep it back into place on a clean sheet of ice. It's not like there's child's toys out here or something I can sweep into the way. But I tell you what, you ever get pissed off at a hockey game or, God willing, a curling match at the officiating, tell you what you do, you want to make an impact. Don't throw your beer on the ice or whatever. Tell you what you do, cut open a bag of road salt. Throw that on the ice. They'll be like, oh my God, it's melting. Do we have any sweepers in the audience? It's finally your chance to make a difference, you lunatics. I'll tell you one event I couldn't believe with my own eyes in the Olympics was something called the two-man luge. I don't know if you guys ever seen that. Last two Winter Olympics, they had something called the two-man luge. Now, the two-man luge, you might think in your mind's eye, the two-man luge is a couple of luges tied together with a couple of guys fighting with soap and a sock or some kind of, I thought maybe a Mad Max style event. No. To my surprise, the two-man luge is one man on a luge and then another man on top of that man. It's just a man on a luge. I couldn't believe my eyes. I thought I was having an acid flashback. I was like, it just seems like there's too many legs. That couldn't be a man on a luge. I'm like, who invented that event? The guy who got cut from the luge team? I'm like, yo, Larry, you didn't make the luge team this year. Well, what about if I put a dude on top of me? Is that a different sport? Like, hell yeah. Everything's different with a man on top of it. There's not one activity that's not different with a man on top of it. But most Olympic activities start with an original activity, like the javelin is like hunting in the savannah back in the day. Greco-Roman wrestling is at some point you probably got to wrestle a Greek. What possible activity prompted the two-man luge? Was the top of a mountain on fire? Two guys and only one sled? Like, all right, buddy, there's only one way off this mountain, and it's gay as hell. Does the guy on the bottom get a bronze for not getting an erection? Because he's the straightest man alive. He's just got an ass bounce around on him for 2 minutes. Then he's going to stand up in a skin-tight outfit to show the world how straight he is. That is the highest risk event of all time. Are you kidding me? I don't think I'm straight enough for the two-man luge, just going down a mountain thinking about baseball the whole time. Like, oh my God, why did this guy do all these squats in the off-season? Stupid, sexy Flanders. Well, I'm glad you guys can relate. I'll say this. I'll say a couple more things before I get going. You guys have been a lot of fun so far, and as you can imagine, I've been tenuously holding on to a relationship with a woman. And I was dating a woman for a long time, and it didn't work out. And I'm sure you guys have all been in the same boat. We're trying to spice things up in the bedroom a little bit, Valentine's Day, trying to keep the thing alive. And we had watched a movie, 9.5 Weeks. It was on TV. It was a Mickey Rourke movie. And the scene was that we recreated, wasn't the best idea, is that you blindfold the girl and then you feed her all sexy out of the fridge. That was the scene. Now, what I learned about that scene that Valentine's Day is that how sexy it is greatly dependent on the contents of your fridge. She really starts asking questions about a second mustard packet, let me tell you. I said, shut up and eat this soggy radish. After a while, I was just feeding her things going bad from around my house. I was using the girl as a garburator. But I've always had a fantasy of dating a raccoon, so it was all good for me. She had a lot of questions. But I don't have any kids. I got nieces, you know, and being an uncle is the best because you don't have to do anything. You just have to show up. It's the best job in the world. And I thought I never really had access to little girls. I mean, well, that's a weird way to put it. I mean, I've never been around little girls, never talking to little girls. What are we talking about, ponies or something? So I was watching my nieces grow up, and I realized I thought we were pushing gender roles on little girls with Barbie stuff and princess stuff. And what I realized is that the only way a little girl wouldn't be into princess stuff is if she didn't know princess was a thing. Because as soon as she knows that princess is a thing in the world, she's like, that's what I'm talking about right there. Bring me the shoes, the dress, whatever the hell's on her head, I want it all. I need it now and I want it in 8 different colors. Like my youngest niece wants to be a mermaid princess. That's the least attainable life goal of all time. It's a fictional animal. She wants to be its royalty. She's got to wade out to Lake Ontario and meet the prince of the mermen. And then you see like a little boy and he just wants a fake hard hat and a fake tool belt. He just wants to be in a union. He's just looking for a steady 9 to 5. I'm like, all right, I want benefits, whatever they are. Why don't you pass me that fake electrical box and go to work on it with this plastic screwdriver for you? I think that's why we have trouble sometimes relating to each other as we get older. We have a whole bunch of construction workers trying to get what Princess is. It's a pretty big bridge to gap. I don't think Disney ever made that movie, The Princess and a Plumber. I think that was Mario Brothers the last time that happened, and he had to kill Bowser, whatever that was. But I'll tell you what, you guys, I'm sure a lot of family people here, last Christmas time, I got a lot of friends. I should just leave it on that. I got a lot of friends. Anyway, I'll see you guys. I got a lot of friends who got kids now. And so I'm sure you guys have been victims of this, and some of you have been perpetrators of it, but I received a whole bunch of Christmas cards from people with pictures of their family on it. I'm like, thanks for the card. I didn't really want to see a picture of your family, but thanks for the sentiment. Because I don't want to see a picture of your family. You're the only one who wants to see a picture of your family. But it gave me a good idea for this Christmas, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to send these people pictures of their own family for Christmas. But not in the standard portrait style, something more candid, like a picture of your kids walking to school. Picture your wife jogging in the park. Picture of the back of your head at the bank machine. You wanted me to take an interest in your family? Well, now I have. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you guys, man. You've been a lot of fun. Thank you very much.